Well, today, hi folks out there.
Hello, gang.
Hello, folks.
Ivan Land.
Hello. Today we're going to dip into a area that is not commonly accepted.
Ooh,
Love this.
But it's
Really?
by
Exciting.
request of one of our members here, namely Kelly.
Okay.
And she says, let's talk about Aether.
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 and the reason that we're going to talk
Short
about
one,
that
huh?
is because we just had a wonderful weekend with my uncle up here. We call him Reverend Ron. Anyway, and we had some incredible conversations about religion and aliens and time travel and all the things.
Whoa.
So it was so
You went deep.
we
Heavy.
went deep many times this weekend. So it was so
Yeah, we did a lot. Yeah. Well, we were loaded.
no.
Yeah, in two ways, maybe.
Not loaded.
One way was to we were set full of information to ask questions about and to talk about. So that's what I mean by loaded.
Okay.
I didn't get the opportunity to be loaded.
He
the
tried to
other
take a
way.
chocolate margarita, but or a
Jeez,
martini.
Oh, really?
Be nice to be loaded the other way, but you get a looser tongue.
Yeah.
That's what Omar Khayyam seemed to say.
Oh, really?
And, you want to find out what the truth is from a guy?
Yeah.
Give him a little wine.
Okay. Espresso martini. You'll get the
Yeah.
truth.
Truth serum.
However,
Oh, it was.
that was written by Fitzgerald, and it was not really a good representation of Omar Khayyam's work. And we'll get to that sometime, in the future.
In the
Yeah.
future.
Today, ether. There's a couple kinds of ether, several kinds of ether. This is not the kind of ether that you combine with another chemical to wash your windows with or
Or go to sleep with.
or
Oh, that's the ether I'm familiar with. They used to give it to. Back in the day, it was a.
Put you out.
Put you to sleep,
put
right?
you to sleep. Yeah, we probably all, if we've had our tonsils out or stuff, we've probably been under ether for a while. Nowadays they have a better one, but in the old days I fought it like crazy, man. I would not. I really fought it, and but anyway, it put me to sleep.
How many ethers are there?
Well, there's a lot of them. The other ethers we're going to talk about today are ethers you can't see or feel. And it's like ether could be spelled Aether also. Now that's a different kind of ether. And you begin to talk about the 30 ethers that exist that are not discoverable. In other words, it's there. It fills the universe. That's the idea. The ethers fill the universe, but they're undiscoverable. That is to say that there's nothing to measure them. And the reason that they didn't get in the physics books is because there was no way to measure them. So they just said, well, we can't tell whether they're there or not.
So they couldn't provide the proof whether they existed or not.
Right. However, I need to probably get to that a little bit here. That's what this is based on. You guys have seen this before.
You
Yep.
brought this out before, yeah.
Yeah. And there'll be more of that around this. But we'll go to ether here, and this is written by Paul Laviolette.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Who
he's
is
a
Paul?
PhD,
I know him.
and he's a physicist.
Anti-gravity
And,
propulsion.
He, where's that? What did I do with that? Here it is. The thing that this ether, these ethers do, is before you get to the governors of the various ethers, which would be in one of those books written about Enoch, which I'll get to eventually, but not today, is and there's governors for every ether, and there's steps in the ether, and some of them are heavens. You know, you could get mixed with heavens, like 1, 2, 3. And then you grab a right or you grab a left, depending on which way that is open to you. And then you go to 4, 5, 6, and 7.
7 heavens.
7 heavens. And 30 ethers. And it's kind of confusing to talk
30
about
of them?
that. Huh?
30 ethers?
30 ethers. Yeah. And there's angels. And according to Enoch and his
Writings.
writings and what's discoverable by a person who looks at
Takes him a while to get it out.
yeah, I'll bring that book out next time, but it's
Stay on a thought path, though. So you're talking about the ethers, and why is that a tough subject to talk about?
well, because you can't see it.
And so because you can't see something, it might not exist.
Well, that's what people say. However, let me
Do the different ethers have different physics, different
Yeah.
properties?
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so like
but we
in
can't see
ether
it.
number 1, just as an example, magnetism wouldn't exist. In ether number 2, there'd be no gravity. Is it that
Well,
kind of different physics?
Well, there's
Okay.
this is what Paul Laviolette says, and it was proved by this. This is electrogravitics, which is the electric field and gravity that are connected, and that's how flying saucers go flying. That's just off the wall thing there. But it says this new physics. This is what he says.
Okay.
It regards. God.
Here, let me read it for you.
There's a word you're covering up. Time.
Oh, yeah.
This new physics regards time and space as an absolute and views Einstein's motion of relative time and space as fundamentally incorrect.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's a big statement.
That is a
isn't it?
huge statement.
Yeah. Well, it's a whole new physics.
Whoa.
And this guy is calling it a spud. The universe is filled with this ether, and it is used to the math around that makes the USP physics complete, and so it says that when it says time and length, the length of something doesn't change. the faster you get. If you get to the speed of light, it doesn't change. And the clock doesn't retard. That is, it doesn't slow way down. So,
The closer you get to the speed of light.
yeah.
So the question within the ethers, though, that we had this weekend was, if there's these ethers and there's all this different stuff at play within these 30 different ethers, then it's more believable if in fact that is true,
Yeah.
that the spacecrafts and God and all of those things could be connected
Yeah,
because of the ethers.
right.
They're almost like similar to that of a black hole, something
Uh-huh.
that you can't see or understand that swallows up everything. And in an ether, there's different forces there that possibly aliens have
I already know about
They
mastered.
figured it
Yeah.
out.
So that's
Well-
why now all of a sudden, because that's where the ether conversation started, was that, you know, there are more sightings today than there have been in years of UFOs. You showed that to me the other day.
and
And it's becoming more and more prominent. And one of the questions this weekend, is it because we're on that bottom piece of that circle, that cycle, you know, and with everything that's going on in the country and all the leaving of religion, because that's happening, and all those things, is that why they're coming through those ethers, or to present themselves to us? And then the questions get even bigger about, I mean, we were talking about Greek mythology, and in the Bible, how he says you will only worship one God, which, according to my Uncle Ron, says, and I agree with him, if you have to put in the Bible only one God, then that must mean that there were others.
Good point.
So, and then the ether
Cool.
conversation started, and yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very cool conversation weekend.
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you look at it through the eyes of logic, you can't find a win. But when you look at it through the eyes of possibility, everything is possible. And if in the Bible it says you will worship only one God, why did we need to say one God if there possibly weren't or are not other gods?
More, yeah. More gods.
That's a good point,
I mean, when
right?
yeah. I mean, there were more than one God when the Bible was written, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People had
Like,
But
there
today-
were multiple
lots of gods.
followings.
Yeah.
Multiple followings, but
Yeah.
what, you know, just like Greek mythology, for example, those were gods. Those were all gods.
Well,
All of them,
But
right?
we call that mythology,
the
but the
question
Bible is not.
comes like, well, okay, in Greek mythology, there was these guys that kind of sat on Mount Olympus,
Right.
and they would converse with or connect with a mortal
Thor.
man from time to time.
Connect
you
with
know,
Thor.
And there was things like Poseidon and
Right?
how many Apollo, and maybe
Triton.
they get it mixed up with the Romans because the Romans had the same things, but they changed the names to some degree.
So that's
yeah.
where the conversation of ethers kind of came up a little bit, is because of almost different levels of
Yeah,
function.
yeah. Well, there's also a question here that's raised. It's like, how did creation occur? And the idea, here's a concept that you can figure out.
Okay.
I can't figure it out, but you know, maybe
I'm
you
doomed.
can figure it
You
out.
can't
Yeah, if
figure
you
it out.
can't figure it out,
We are screwed.
we're screwed.
I feel like I'm about 3 ethers below y'all right now, so.
I'm gonna work on it so there's more clarity here. If you want to understand the new physics, the new classified physics is ether is central to that whole concept. And the ones that go on up to the 30 is kind of beyond that. But the ones that just maybe are looking at creation and what you can do with it is just the standard ether or Aether. But anyway, here's what happens with this pair of glasses. I can't see. Here's a concept for you: subquantum kinetics.
Well, it's like, I mean, not to get
Yeah.
not to get logical or
You have to make sense out of it.
false,
Yeah,
but that kind of goes to Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
You remember in that movie
Oh, I thought.
where he goes into the quantum
Realm.
realm?
Yeah.
Oh,
So in the quantum
That's
realm,
very, very small.
Yes.
yeah.
He was subatomic.
right?
So-
But so that kind of breaches on that a little bit,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
thought process of that. And what we were talking about was the, for my uncle to actually acknowledge the fact that why wouldn't there be alien beings, after all the things that are happening, the ether thing came up, and out of that came time travel, which, what if these aliens are actually us,
Oh,
either coming back to see or going forward to see?
yeah. I don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
But I mean, that's mind-blowing stuff. That's not in any book
That's
you're going to
almost- Have
find.
you seen Interstellar?
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
It's yeah.
It's been a minute.
It's
been a
heavy,
minute.
but
Yeah.
kind of like that.
Is
Touches
that
on
right?
it a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Are you talking about the one with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Matt
All right.
McConaughey.
All right.
Matt
all right.
McConaughey. Oh, yeah, Matt McConaughey.
And he sees through the floor or the
Yes.
slates in his
Yeah.
in his kid's bedroom at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Normally,
From inside of a black hole.
interpret as let's see, it's length and
What are you trying to tell us?
that they're interpreted as all alterations of the space-time continuum emerge as manifestation resulting, it's like reading the Bible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Manifestations resulting from motion through the absolute ether.
So, regardless of this book, what is your views on that?
Huh?
What is your views on that's what we want to hear.
Oh, well, my view is that this USP, which he defines here, I think, is I think it's true, and it needs to have a lot of work done on it. But like I said, it's been spurned by normal physicists. Well, not that the others are abnormal, but it's normal physics that you study in college and that you read about doesn't include the concept of an ether, and but
But they
they're
exist.
teaching relativity.
yeah, they're teaching relativity, but that's wrong according to the USP, Universal System of Physics, the Unified System of Physics.
But why should this be such a subject that you think is touchy?
You can't measure it.
Well, you can't measure God.
Everybody believes Einstein.
Yes, that's right. That's the biggie.
But you can't touch God.
Huh?
You can't touch God.
Can't touch God.
So yeah, no, you can't.
I don't think God is in many physics books.
Right, but the
Yeah.
exactly. So you
Yeah.
can't prove.
Yeah.
And that's what
Can't
the,
prove God. no.
that's the whole thing, you know, is that
Yeah.
where did the idea of the ethers come if it wasn't proven? Much like where did the idea of God come if that can't be proven?
He said you better believe it or I'll zap you.
Yeah,
I'll drown you.
but I think it's,
Smite me, almighty smiter.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's where that conversation this weekend, it really went many, many places.
Yeah.
And the fact that these ethers, it'd be interesting if there's 30 of them to know what all 30 are.
Well, I'll bring that next time.
Because that would be, you know, and if it can't be measured, then how do we know there's 30?
Well, because the
That's
same
a
way
valid
that
question.
we know that there's a God, that we know that there's a book of Enoch,
Uh-huh.
and this De Silva guy has analyzed it. There's two books, analyzed it, and has come up with all these ethers and angels. It's the same place that, you know, you're supposed to have watchers.
Uh-huh.
It's supposed to have holy angels, which are 7 of them. You know, that's his primary family.
What ether does God exist in? All?
All of them. Yeah.
And was God created?
Well, no.
Why not?
He was created by Elon.
By
Elon
who?
Musk. Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
So does the genesis of ethers come from a religious foundation?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It comes from, there's a, what it alludes to is that there is a incorrect thing going on in Einstein's equations when he is talking about, or any of the physicists are talking about relativity, which says, you know, that if you go as fast as the speed of light, you're going to have a ruler that's, you know, real long, or a clock that stops, that sort of thing, and you just you know, you can't move because there's no time. See, that's this time, space, time continuum.
And that's where time travel comes in because you can move.
Yeah.
And this is directly against Einstein's theories.
Yeah. Right.
That's why I assume you underline this, because
Yeah.
that's a huge statement.
It is a huge
Einstein was wrong. Is basically what
He was
Correct.
less right.
Is incorrect.
Or he had
That's right.
or he had
That's right.
one of many
It's a nicer word.
Yeah.
theories.
Who?
Einstein. His theory isn't necessarily the only one. Just like each religion isn't the only one. Your belief isn't the only one.
No.
It's just one of.
And the question of where did God
Right.
come from, or who created God? That's an interesting question.
It is an interesting question.
But there's a difference in the philosophical belief systems of Western man and Eastern man, Eastern philosophy. And that is that Aristotelian kind of, you know, the children, so on, are need a cause to have an effect. If there's an effect, you can look for the cause and say, what is the cause of this effect? So, naturally, if God exists, well, how did that get created? And the answer is, in the Eastern world, Eastern philosophy is always there. It
just
was-
always existed.
always existed.
But this galaxy is in the process of dying. Is that correct?
I don't know. I don't know. It could be.
But there are multiple, thousands and millions of galaxies,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if this is our conversations were so great this weekend. If this one is in the dying phase, then are these sightings that we're seeing because theirs isn't dying or theirs has died?
Yeah.
Or are they time travelers? And how do they travel time?
Could be. Could be.
That's a mind screw.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like.
And this is having this conversation with a very, like Dad, very articulate man, but is a man of faith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm a woman of faith,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that I don't question things.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was interesting to hear it from a guy's perspective that follows the Bible.
Yeah.
But he's like, well, these are other possibilities. Like, it was a mind blow when he said, you will follow but one God.
Yes.
Why did they have to say one?
Yeah. The ether
Yeah.
concept, so long spurned by the academic
He gets stuck in
establishment, turns out to be central to this highly classified new physics.
Highly classified new physics
Yeah.
means that they know it exists.
Well, it further says here that they've talked to people like somebody called Ray that has they're using it. They're using it in the black ops of like Area 51.
I was just going to say that might have been where they learned from it,
Yeah.
because there is a rumor that a spacecraft was found,
Yeah,
and they probably had to figure out how its propulsion worked.
yeah, that's true.
And maybe that's how they learned about anti-gravity propulsion, was
Yeah.
from this alien technology.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell us about it.
I sometimes fall asleep to this podcast called Weaponized. It's like this kind of stuff, alien type stuff. And one of the cases they were studying recently was they basically had a UFO on camera floating through a military base, and none of the scanners could pick up what it was. They could see it visually, but it wasn't putting off any heat signals. It wasn't giving any electromagnetic fields
And
whatsoever. It was just there.
And the speed that it was going, you were saying, was faster than anything, and it was going vertically. Correct?
No, it was going horizontally.
Oh, horizontally.
And you could. There's video of it, but the scanners, none of the scanners could track it. So they had to manually track it on camera because nothing was picking it
Yeah.
up. And it essentially showed a fluctuation in temperature of the being. But I mean, it could be something that has slipped from one ether to another in terms of, being in two existences at once, right?
It could be.
Yeah.
And that's why now we might be more prepared because of all the information that's come out, all the open-mindedness that's come out. We could be more prepared to
And they're just giving everyone a cell phone.
giving everybody a cell phone.
Not even doing a background check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Beer was physicist, USPA. His intent with this new physics was to write all kinds of little booklets about how it's different and how you can use it differently to do things that you do now. That's like cold welding and
Cold fusion.
stuff like that.
Interesting.
I don't understand that yet, but I hope.
Gnarly.
Yeah,
Awesome. So
Interesting.
next time, let's talk more about
Gnarly.
aliens next time.
aliens.
Possibilities.
Yeah. Do you know any?
I think I probably know a lot. was my guess.
Yeah, what do you think of all of that?
I think it's a lot. That's a lot to take in. Like redefining physics is quite a heavy concept. I think that
Physics is a tough subject anyway.
true story, and your point is valid in that all of physics assumes time and space. But when you take away those two variables as constants, you're left with like no basis of reality, no measurable, there's no way to measure that, right? Which makes it very difficult to universally agree on one thing being one.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And what they put in place of it, of the gaps in mathematics and the concepts, is a constant. And the constant may not be related to anything. It's just a number that they shove in there, and it makes the equation come out.
Right.
And that's been a problem for quite a while.
Yeah. Huh. That's quite a concept.
Yeah. So the concept
And
of ether,
that constant in Einstein's relativity in time, space, is the speed of light. Isn't it?
It might be.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it.
186,000 miles per second.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the constant. EMC squared is based off of that.
Might
Right?
be. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're moving an object through space against time. So you're still playing on the same playing field.
Right.
Right?
And that constant is the number they throw in there to make the math work.
To make the math work, right?
Okay.
I think it
Because
was.
if the math doesn't work, it's not real.
If it doesn't work, they sit and spend 20 years on it and drive themselves crazy, and then they
40.
yeah, yeah, right. So
Yeah. That's
And,
frustrating because it's not measurable. So, like, you could do it. Yeah. That's quite the
right,
predicament.
yeah, and the ethers are not measurable.
Right.
You don't need a constant. There
That's
is no
why.
measurable.
That's why it was not thrown into the equation early on, because they tried to measure it. Like the Earth there should be a measure there of some sort as the Earth moves through it, but they could find nothing. So there was nothing there. So they were looking for the wrong thing. And I don't know, whether they're going to get the right thing. But it looks like in Black Ops, they're already working on that sort of thing. And it's, further in this book, Paul talks about the B-2 bombers that move partly by gravitational thrust. And that's by creating a positive on the wing, and a negative comes out of the fire hole, as it were, the jet that creates the negative. So that there has to be a continuous dielectric between them. Otherwise, it wouldn't work, because they would just, the negative and the positive would just,
Stick to each other.
yeah, like you put negative and positive together on the table and they go,
Right.
But with the dielectric on there, the push is constant with the negative pushing the dielectric and the positive, pushing it. And when it's not operating, I believe I haven't read the dang thing. It's getting hard to read some. But it's like they're using it now And you know they're using this whole concept now, and they're not telling us about it. We're not getting into the thing. He was trying to tell us about it and saying here's what they do, and he's got the math. I got a paper that's got the math on it, and I don't know if I understand it at all, but it's he shows how it works. And Norm says, well, but to get away from the earth, you still have to have the push. Yeah, you do, but you got to have the mechanism to push the dielectric is important because it can't get through the dielectric, so it keeps trying to get to the positive.
And that's what moves it
And
forward.
it can't do it, and it moves
That's
whatever
when
is there.
it makes it move in the forward direction.
Yeah. So somehow, eventually, we can have cars and things that have that set up in it in some way. Don't know what that is yet. In some way, but they're using planes, and I think there's the black op business. They talk about all the time that even on ancient aliens that they have these machines like the B2s and so on, and they have groups of it, and there's even groups of planes that we don't know about that are out there, and it may be even. There's a weird concept. They may already be going back and forth to Mars without any trouble, And that's a problem to me, because if that is true, they ought not be putting guys in jeopardy by putting them in these ridiculous
Space.
pieces of
Solid
stuff
rocket
and then
fuel.
shooting them out.
Yeah.
For, how many months is it supposed to take?
24.
Oh, no, not 2 years.
Well, depending on how fast you go.
Huh?
To get to Mars?
To get to Mars.
Yeah, I
Depending on
think.
your speed, right?
I think it's only a few months.
Yeah, because they would wait till the orbits come closer to each other before they would launch it.
They
Yeah,
try to shoot it on the other side of the sun, they'd be in trouble.
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
But anyway, it's a whole system that needs to be developed, and in order for it to be properly developed, physicists need to accept the fact that there is this this system of physics, this classified, well, it's not classified, this thinking of how things work, what physics is that it will work, and
There you go.
yeah, they'll think about it.
Yeah, something to
Yeah,
think about
this-
anyway.
Right.
a few things,
We'll have cars
Physics.
stuff, yeah.
Huh, that's crazy.
several things to think about.
Several
Okay, we'll
things.
drill
Yeah.
in. We'll drill down next time.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
say goodbye.
Say what?
Say goodbye.
Oh, hey, folks, thanks for coming, and so long.
Sayonara.
Oh.